and welcome back to Catholic Mom and Daughter. I'm Jennifer with Kate, and today we have 3 quick and easy meatless meals that are good for Lent, for Fridays, or just for the vegetarian in your life.
So these meals are super easy. Anybody can make them, even if you have limited cooking skills.
Yeah, super easy is really key at our house. Also quick, you can whip them up very easily in a short amount of time. They're especially great. Teenagers could do these. If you have a teenager who wants to do a work of mercy for Lent, feed the hungry, these recipes fit the bill.
So the first recipe is a family favorite, and that is pizza. So the recipe we have is from allrecipes.com. It's the Chicago deep dish pizza, and this one is very easy to make and very flexible time-wise. You could even make this the night before and have it for lunch.
I've definitely done that. You mix it up the night before and you can just let it sit on your counter overnight. It doesn't need any special help. The other thing I love about this recipe is that you don't have to have a pizza stone or any fancy equipment to get a nice crispy crust. We use a cast iron skillet and or an 11 by 9 baking tin. We usually make 2 at a time. So it's just super easy to throw together and it always turns out really good. All right, adding 3 cups of flour into my bowl, and then I'm putting yeast in warm water here and adding a little sugar, and then I'm going to stir it all up so the yeast can proof a little bit. And while it's proofing, I'll measure out the corn oil, but you can also use canola oil. I've used both and it turns out fine. We can't tell really any difference. So we'll go ahead and add that. Here we go, just right into, it's a 1 bowl operation here. Now we're adding the salt and the yeast mixture is going in, and then we are going to mix it up. You can mix it in your stand mixer on the counter, but why would you want to go to all that work when you can just mix it up in the bowl? So it comes together pretty quickly and you'll just mix it until it forms a soft ball. And this is what it will look like. Then you just cover it with a clean cloth and it can sit on your counter for hours. When it's done, it will look like this. I've even left it out overnight. But when you're ready, you can put it in your oiled cast iron pan, which Kate is doing here, and just the dough is pretty elastic, so sometimes you have to work it a little to get it spread out in the bottom of the pan. And then you pre-cook it for maybe 10 to 12 minutes in the oven before you add the other toppings. So that's a good tip to remember. Don't try to put your toppings on before the crust is pre-baked. So here we go, we're putting on mozzarella cheese. We have a beagle in the background, hoping some cheese falls out. But then since this is a pizza that we're going to eat on a Friday of Lent, we are just adding olives to make it a vegetarian type of pizza. But we did make another pizza the same day with pepperoni, which we'll show you in a minute. We didn't eat that on Friday. All right, so here it is, ready to go into the oven. And then here it is when it's come out of the oven, and it's very delicious. And here is our pepperoni version. Add a side salad and you're ready to go.
Alright, so there you have it. That is the pizza recipe.
And this recipe has made me a star with my son's teenage friends. They come in and they say, ooh, it's pizza. Very economical and very tasty.
So our next recipe has a Mexican flavor to it, and again is very easy. As long as you can open some cans and some jars and make some rice, you can do this one.
You can do this, right? So we call this one Mexican Magic because basically it's a combination of beans and cream cheese and salsa and whatever else you want to put in it, corn or meat if you're not in Lent. But it's super easy. You can serve it over rice. We usually make our rice in the Instant Pot. You can also serve it as a dip with chips, or you can roll it up in tortillas and eat it that way.
It's a very flexible recipe. You can put whatever you want into it. But today we're going to show you a meatless version that we made a little while back, which is perfect for Lent. So we're starting off by making our rice. We're doing about 3 cups here, but you could do more or less depending on how many people you have to feed. And then we're going to add the water into that. And we like to cook ours in the Instant Pot because it's really, really quick and easy, and you can just let it sit there and it'll be perfectly done whenever you need it. Then we're gonna add our cream cheese into the pot, and we're gonna add the salsa next. We're using a whole jar, but you could do more or less. And then we have our corn, a can of corn, and some pinto beans. Then we're gonna add some black beans in, which we rinsed and drained, and then we turned on the heat and we mixed it all together. And you can mix it up and let it simmer for however long you need, or at least until all of the cheese is melted. So just cover it and turn it on low until it looks like this. And then we're gonna go ahead and scoop some of the rice out, which we did in the Instant Pot. And then we're gonna scoop the Mexican Magic on top, and it makes a very delicious meal, and the ingredients are very versatile. And then we like to serve it with tortilla chips, and usually a side salad like this.
So that is our Mexican Magic, the meatless version, which is very yummy and it always is a crowd pleaser here. Our last meatless recipe that's super easy to whip up is cottage cheese pancakes, which are so awesome because you cook them in the oven in a rimmed baking sheet, so no standing over a griddle or a hot stove flipping pancakes.
The batter only takes a couple minutes to make, and the pancakes also have a bit of a protein boost from the cottage cheese.
The cottage cheese almost gives it a cheese blintz type flavor that we really like here. It's really yummy with syrup, and you just serve it with a side of fruit and boom, you have dinner under control. So I really like this recipe for that reason. It just comes together in no time with very little effort on my part. So let's go ahead and walk through that one.
Alright, so for the cottage cheese pancakes, we're starting off with some flour and then adding in some baking powder.
And some salt. And then Kate is adding a bit of sugar. It doesn't take much in this recipe.
And then I'm whisking it all together.
So we'll leave the directions down below, but I've melted butter in the microwave and I'm just putting that in. And then I am adding in the milk, a cup of milk.
And then after that, you're going to add in the eggs, which is 4 eggs for this recipe.
And finally, you can't forget the cottage cheese. So about a container of cottage cheese is plenty for this recipe. You don't need more than that.
And then after that, it's going to be 2 teaspoons of vanilla.
This is our homemade vanilla.
And then I'm mixing that all together.
Now it's kind of fun to mix this one up.
And it looks like that when it's all combined.
Then you can just spread it in your greased rimmed baking sheet, which is what I love about this recipe. You can just cook it in the oven at 350. Of course, you can still cook it on a griddle, the traditional pancake shape, but this makes it so much easier. And then when it's all done, it should look like this after about 15 minutes in the oven.
And then we like to serve this with syrup and as a Lenten side, some fruit.
Yeah, no meat with this. It would be very yummy with bacon, but alas, it is Lent. So there you have the recipe for cottage cheese pancakes, and as an extra bonus, they refrigerate really well and are easy to heat up the next morning for a quick breakfast.
Alright, so there you have 3 easy meatless meals that you can make or have your teenagers make this Lent.
That's right, put your teenagers to work. So we hope you enjoyed this video. If you have a favorite meatless meal for us, please leave it down in the comments below.
So, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.